Alright, so it's been over a week since the rematch between Alexander Usyk and Anthony Joshua happened. And yeah, I just thought I'd give my thoughts in this video about what happened, or how I perceived the fight. I guess what's next for both guys as well. Just my overall thoughts on what happened on, um, 2 Saturdays ago, right? So, that being said, um, first of all, congratulations to Alexander Usyk for getting the win again. He got a split decision win this time. It wasn't unanimous like it was the last time. Commiserations to Anthony Joshua. Respect to him for taking the fight to the rematch immediately. No step aside like everyone was saying. No ducking allegations. No, oh, I'm scared of Usyk and all that stuff, right? Which was expected. Not the outcome I wanted as an AJ fan. Even though I predicted Usyk was gonna win again by decision, I was really really hoping for Anthony Joshua to pull it off. But I don't know. He's a tough guy to put away. He's only been knocked down legitimately one time in his career, like in his amateur career, and that was against Better Biev. He got knocked down by this guy called Megomed or Mevigo. I don't know, something like that, right? But that was a clear below the belt line shot that should have counted as a knockdown. He got technically knocked down by this other guy with a body shot. But aside from that, he's never really been knocked down except by Order Better Biev, but that was in the amateurs. So that being said, Usyk's a tough guy to put away just for anyone, regardless if if you punch hard like Deontay Wilder or AJ, or if you're as big as Fury, Usyk, it's tough to put him away, right? So that being said, the decision was closer this fight, or the fight was closer than the last one. I think like most of us can agree on that. Because last fight, I'm the only one who had it a draw. Actually re-watching it and scoring it. Because you look at the fight and you really study it. It was actually closer than what people, are trying to make it out to be, right? Because I thought, I think I've already posted my scorecard on my channel, but basically I had it 6 rounds to 6. And that was that, right? I don't think AJ was robbed of a draw necessarily, but when people say, oh, AJ got schooled and all that stuff, I don't know, I didn't really believe that narrative. But maybe in the 12th round of that last fight, yeah, but I don't know. Still, it's just I don't really agree with the narrative that he got schooled every round except for like 1 or 2, right? That being said, though, this was a split decision. And yeah, look, I thought AJ won this fight. I'm not saying AJ was robbed of a victory. I don't think he was robbed. It was a very close fight. Could have gone to either guy, in my opinion. As soon as they announced the decision, even if it was a split decision, I kind of knew that they were going to give it to AJ, or to Usyk, excuse me, right? I don't believe this silly narrative that it was a fixed fight. You see guys like Teddy Atlas and True Jordy being like, they almost robbed him of a win, and all that stuff. It's corrupt judging. Eddie Hearn, he paid off the judges. It's like, no, he didn't, If he paid off the judges, they would have straight up just given him like a unanimous decision, like 9 rounds to 3 type of fight. But they didn't, and that was that. So, in terms of my scorecard, what the rounds I gave Anthony Joshua, the first 3 rounds. I thought those were clear rounds that went to him. Round 4 I gave to Usyk. That was another clear round. Round 6 I thought was a clear AJ round. Round 8 and 9 I thought were clear AJ rounds. The 9th round was a clear, regardless of what you think. That was, everyone gave that round to AJ. The 9th round. 10th and 11th round were clear Usyk rounds, especially the 10th where Usyk had that big comeback to rock Anthony Joshua in that round. And that was that. Those are the rounds I thought were clearly each fighter's rounds, if that makes sense. The rounds I thought were close were rounds 5, 7, and 12, and I'll explain the 12th round, but round 5 I edged to Usyk, rewatching it, but I thought it was pretty close. Round 7 I edged to AJ, and then round 12 I edged to AJ as well. And people will say, oh, but AJ gassed out in that round. He gassed out, he was tired. Yeah, he was tired, but, I mean, you look at what happened in that round as well. I mean, AJ, what was it? He was, he rocked Usyk for one, and he also landed some good right hands and good body shots, right? And the thing is, the reason I knew they were going to give that decision to Usyk as soon as the fight was over is because I've noticed that my scoring criteria is different as opposed to what the judges' criteria is for the most part, because my criteria is based off of, not only, the amount of punches landed by each guy, which is, I think, what the main sort of criteria is for these professional judges that are scoring the fight live. But my criteria is also that, I base it off who's landing the harder punches, who's got more power behind their punches, who's, landing the cleaner punches, right? Who's got better, ring control, who's being the aggressor, all that stuff. And you know what I mean? It's like a mix, an accumulation of things, right? Not just who's landing the most amount of punches. I mean, if that were the case, then yeah, you would give the fight to Usyk. But like I said, it's not just about who lands more punches, But yeah, that's because, I mean, the thing is, in this fight, you look at some of the early rounds, and you can see that Usyk's really just pawing AJ with like a jab or, a couple of shots. They're really just, they were like either pawing punches or they even hit on the wrist area or the palm area of the glove. They weren't like the cleanest punches and not the hardest punches, as opposed to AJ, who I thought was clearly landing the harder punches, right, throughout the fight. So yeah, that's why I gave the 12th round to him. I thought Usyk landed some good combinations. He had a nice 3 combo, or a nice 3 punch combination in the 12th, which I don't know if it stunned AJ, but it definitely landed on his chin. But I mean, look, do I think AJ was schooled in this fight? No, it was close. I mean, it's kind of baffling. I don't know. I see guys like True Jordy and Teddy Atlas give their scorecards and give their reasonings, and they say that it's like they barely gave AJ any rounds aside from the 9th. You know what I mean? It was very strange to see. It's very strange to see that from them because, they make it sound like AJ got schooled, and in reality he didn't. You know what I mean? And they're acting like this was a fixed fight and all that stuff, and they were saying, oh, it's corrupt judges and all that stuff. And that's what the consensus is going to be for this fight moving forward, is that it's going to be, oh, Usyk, he fought off the judges that night, the corrupt judges, it was a fixed fight, Usyk beat the fixed fight, and all. That's what we're going to have to hear, which is just whatever, I mean, I don't really care, but, that's just how it is. But yeah, look, I thought AJ won 8 rounds to 4. Look, if you had to give the 12th round to Usyk, I mean, maybe I'd have to go watch that round back, because I think that was probably the closest round in the whole fight, that and rounds 5 and 7. But I mean, still, it's like, other than that, it's a fight that could have gone to either fighter, in my opinion, right? And people, that like I said, people boxing fans don't like it when people have unpopular opinions like this. But just whatever, I'm just gonna say it how I think it is, right? And how I think it is, and how I looked at it, I thought AJ edged it out. But look, am I, do I have to like the decision? Do I have to agree with it? No. Like I said, it was a close fight, and I can see a reasoning for Usyk winning. So congratulations to Alexander Usyk. I think AJ improved. We'll talk about their improvements, both fighters, because I think both fighters improved from the last fight. AJ definitely improved by being a bit more aggressive. He was landing some good counters for sure. He was putting more intensity behind his punches, which is what I thought he was going to do in the first fight, but he was really just trying to, paw at Usyk with his punches a lot of the time. But in this fight, he showed more intensity. he also improved with body work. That's what I wanted to see in this fight. Um, I think as well his defense, which I was kind of surprised by, to be honest, had tightened up a bit. It seemed like he was reacting to Usyk's feints less and less as the fight went on, and he was actually putting his hands up, his guard up, as opposed to, putting out that sort of whatever you call it, the probing jab, which Usyk can just like get on the inside of and just land his own jab and all that stuff, right? So, that being said, I think AJ definitely made some improvements in terms of what he could improve on, or what I think he could have done better. More counters, honestly. I really think he could have countered more in that fight. I think that he showed some good counters, and the times he did, stun Usyk, which was in the 10th briefly, and then the 12th as well briefly. That is when he countered. Those are the times he like actually caught Usyk and made Usyk react. Aside from the body shots, but that was one thing. I think as well he kind of like in the 9th round he thought that he was gonna get the knockout, and that's why he really went at Usyk, which I don't know. I can understand why, because it seemed like Usyk was rocked, but I would have preferred it if he was like having a balance. If you would have just balanced all that throughout the entire fight, as opposed to like releasing out the gas tank in the 12th or the 9th, right? But and there are other things, or like I think he could have shut off Usyk's angles a bit more as well in the fight, but it is what it is. It's not he could have made some improvements, and he can still improve in the future. That's not the best, I mean, that's maybe one of the best versions of AJ we've got since he fought maybe Povetkin, right? But I still think that he can improve. Look, he's only 30, right? 31, 32. He's still young, you know what I mean? And I think if he stays with Robert Garcia and develops as a fighter with him, then I think he could definitely improve. Now, in terms of what Usyk did well, I liked his combinations better in this fight. I think he was less one-dimensional in this fight, as opposed to the last one where he was thinking more like straight punches. In this one, I like the body work of him as well. He landed some good body shots, some good left and right hooks to the body. And I think he had like maybe a bit better movement. With all that stuff, right? So I think both guys improved in certain ways, and yeah, it was good. So it was a better fight than the last one. I told you guys it was going to be a better fight than the last one, and like I said, I'm a bit disappointed that, look, even if I thought AJ won, I still think I didn't want it to go to a close decision like this. I wanted it to be, I did want AJ to get the stoppage in this fight, and I just think it's AJ. It's his lack of experience really against southpaws, and and also him, staying too long with Robert McCracken, which, in my opinion, is kind of what, that was sort of the factor as to why he I don't want to say lost this fight, but as to why we didn't get that fighter that fought Usyk that we did in previous fights, is because I think Joshua was, so worked up about staying loyal to Rob McCracken. And the thing is, when people were telling him this, he got like so offended, by these people when they were saying that. And he was saying like, oh, those people shouldn't even talk to me because I'm loyal and stuff like that, which, like, no one's saying that he shouldn't be loyal and he should just say, yeah, screw Rob McCracken and all that stuff. But just saying, like, there's no harm in trying a different coach and just switching things up, because, look, I'm not one of these guys who thinks Rob McCracken's a terrible coach. I think he's an okay medium level coach, right? I mean, he's coached guys like Carl Froch before, even coached Tyson Fury before, right? And numerous other fighters, but I just think that, he's not like the best high level coach, and it took the Usyk fight until AJ kind of realized that and started to, you know, broaden his comfort zone in terms of finding a new coach. You know what I mean? And I think had he done that in the future, in the past, like earlier, I think had he, been coached a bit better, and had he had someone tell him the things that were that needed to be told to him, I think that he not only would have become an undisputed world champion, the first undisputed world champion to hold all four belts in the heavyweight division, but I think he also could have gone down as an all-time great in the heavyweight division as well. And to see him not achieve that, it kind of sucks. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. Should AJ retire? It's up to him. Look, I wouldn't be so mad if he retired. Look, he didn't get his chance to become the first undisputed world champion. He didn't. You know what I mean? He didn't fight Tyson Fury. He didn't fight Wilder. But I mean, look, what a career. You know what I mean? You look at his career. Klitschko, White. His dogfight with White. His, absolute war with Vladimir Klitschko. His, him unifying with Joseph Parker, which I thought was a very underrated win, where he outboxed someone who was considered to be the best, heavyweight, the best boxer at heavyweight. Excuse me. You know what I mean? And he completely just outboxed him on the front foot, right? And him being the first guy to knock out Povetkin. I mean, the guy's like he's done great in the division, right? So, I mean, I'm still a fan of him, of his, regardless, like, win, lose, or draw. Do I think he should retire? I don't think he needs to retire, because I think he's not old, right? He's not like 40 or something. I think he can make one more run at undisputed, but if he doesn't achieve that, then I think I don't know. I think that's kind of when he can call it quits. But in terms of who I would like to see AJ fight next, I think him versus. Honestly, this is one that's not been talked about. I like to see the rematch with Joseph Parker, because a lot of people were talking about that fight and saying like, oh, Parker was robbed of a knockout in that fight because the ref was saving AJ, which is one of the dumbest narratives, one of the silliest narratives that I've heard. You know what I mean? So I like AJ to sort of redeem that, or not redeem that, because it wasn't a loss, but I mean to sort of prove the haters wrong, I guess, if you will, or just prove a point, really. Because I mean Parker's improved as well. Ever since that first Azora fight, he's looked a lot better, right? So yeah, I'd like to see him fight Parker next, maybe. What else? He could rematch White, I guess, but I mean, I don't know. White's been looking like, pretty bad at a high level recently, especially against Povetkin and Tyson Fury. I mean, I don't know. So I think that's a predict. I think anyone who's watched the first fight and has watched the last Fury fight knows how that fight's going to play out between Dillian Whyte and Anthony Joshua. People say the Wilder fight. Look, Wilder's not gonna fight AJ, right? Look, he's gonna fight in America, right? He's gonna fight Helenius, and then after that he might fight Ruiz, right? But look, if they weren't able to make the fight before, then I don't think they're gonna be able to make it now, right? You know what I mean? And like, you look at Deontay Wilder and in his recent interviews. I mean, he's been sort of trashing AJ recently, but I mean, he's not even keen on taking that fight. He's comfortable fighting Helenius. He's comfortable fighting Ruiz. He even said he'd fight Ortiz again. What does he get out of that? You know what I mean? I don't understand what he gets out of an Ortiz fight. So, it's just that's sort of how I see it. But I don't know. There are options out there for Anthony Joshua. And that's that. It's maybe you could fight Parker. You could fight a southpaw, I guess, in Otto Wallen, but I mean I don't know. I think he knocks Wallen out. I think. Yeah, I don't know. He's gonna have to beat multiple guys though. He's gonna have to climb his way back to the top, and I think he can do it. But for me, it's like, it's up to him for one. But also, if he does decide to do it, I think it's like, one more thing. And if he doesn't, then I think, I don't know what's next for him. So, in terms of Usyk, obviously we know that Tyson Fury's next. Will Tyson Fury take that fight? I think he will, but I mean, I don't know for sure, but I think I don't think Fury's scared of Usyk like a lot of people are saying. I think Fury will take that fight. In my opinion, I think Fury beats Usyk. As much as I would like Usyk to win, I think because Fury's not gonna, he's not gonna tire out like Joshua did, and I also think Fury's a better defensive fighter than Joshua. What I don't see happening is Fury knocking out Usyk, because I think AJ is a harder puncher than Tyson Fury, and I also think that he's a better press forward type of fighter than Tyson Fury. You know, so, and Joshua wasn't able to get the knockout, so I don't see that happening. I see it going to a decision. I don't know how entertaining of a fight it will be, to be honest. The only way I see Usyk winning is if Fury turns it into this brawl like he did against Wilder in the second and third fight. But because I mean the thing is with Wilder is that's the way to beat him, is just to go forward onto him, right? That's why I think if AJ runs into Wilder, I think AJ knocks Wilder out within a couple rounds. But excuse me. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if that fight will happen, but I think I mean, yeah, like I said, I think Usyk gives anyone a tough fight, or a tricky fight anyway. I think, look, in my opinion, I think AJ has a better chance of beating Tyson Fury than he does Usyk. I've said this in the past, and that's because of styles, right? But I mean that fight's, and that's kind of why I wanted Joshua to win, because I thought it would be more of an interesting fight as opposed to Usyk and Fury, which in a fight where I think Fury would just sort of box around on the back foot and just and whenever Usyk's gonna get close, obviously Fury's just gonna grab him and hold on to him and all that stuff. So yeah, just my opinion on that. But aside from that, in regards to this fight, it was a good fight. I'm a bit disappointed that they gave it, or that AJ didn't win, but at the same time, Usyk was fighting for his country, respect. And in terms of the post-fight speech that everyone's raving on about, look, it's not the worst thing that's happened, alright? It was just, it was a guy feeling emotional. You gotta understand about AJ, he's he's the most hated heavyweight in the world, and he's constantly challenging himself against champion after champion after champion, and he gets little to no credit for it, right? Because people say, oh, Klitschko was old, oh, Povetkin was old, oh, Usyk's a cruiserweight, and all that stuff, right? And for him to lose again, while dealing with all that, while having the toughest training camp of his life beforehand, I mean, he just had a moment where he let loose a little, in terms of his in terms of having all that built-in rage inside of him, right? So, look, I don't agree with it. I don't think I'm not saying we should condone it, but I'm saying look, it's not the worst thing ever. You know what I mean? It's not like he went and punched Usyk in the face afterwards and broke his jaw or whatever. I mean, if that happened, then yeah, that would have been really bad. But the thing I didn't like that AJ did after, I didn't like him throwing the belts out of the ring. I thought that was very disrespectful. And he also tried to get into a fight with Usyk's team, which I didn't like. I don't know. That was I found that very strange, and I to be honest, as much as I am an AJ fan, I don't really respect it that AJ did that, and I hope he does explain it in the future, because, like I said, I don't really respect that he did that. But aside from that, in terms of his post-fight speech, look, was it kind of cringy? Yes, but was it the worst thing that's happened? No. It's it's not like the whole Masvidal Covington situation where Masvidal afterwards assaulted Colby Covington on the streets and made it a more of a personal thing than all that stuff. So that's just my opinion. Yeah, good fight. Respect to Usyk. I hope he goes and beats Tyson Fury, even though I don't think it's gonna happen. In terms of AJ, whatever he wants to do next, whether he retires or he wants to fight again, I'll support him. I still think has a good chance of becoming undisputed if he stays with Robert Garcia and develops as a fighter with him. But we'll have to see. I guess he could fight Ortiz if Ortiz wins against Ruiz. But I mean, do I even have to say who I think wins that fight? Like, come on, you know what I mean? Especially at this stage in their careers, like. But yeah. Anyway, you guys let me know what you think. And yeah, I might give a prediction for. What was it? Oh yeah, Wilder versus Helenius. Even though I think we all know how that fight's gonna play out. Yeah, I don't know what else there's to say. Honestly, just good fight. Congrats to both guys. Respect to both guys. I thought AJ won, but I don't think it was a robbery. I'm sure I'm gonna have a lot of people, coming at me for that opinion, but I don't mind, cause it's just words online and that's it. But yeah, I don't know what to say. Just thank you guys for watching. Have a good day. Take care and peace.